Man, I can't wait to talk about patience. Welcome to the Dude Catholic Podcast. I'm your co-host Adrian, here with a man who can make a horse drink and then lead him to water.
Ramon.
Yeah, you are. Today we begin a new series titled Stand By to Get Some, with an episode titled
Patience.
That's right. Our scripture today comes from
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 8. Better is the end of a thing than its beginning, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
Delicious.
So let's get this podcast on the road. Now here we are outside. You may hear the neighbors doing stuff. Leaf blowers or vacuum cleaners, cars, alarms, and all that stuff. It's because we're smoking a cigar. We like cigars. You don't get reviews, but dang are they delicious. We got an Arturo Fuente and an Ashton. Maybe they'll send us some royalties or free samples in the future. But as of now, we're just enjoying the smokes. When I think about patience, I think about how we don't have it, you know? Just as men, we don't have patience. And I feel like we can speak freely about that. Maybe it's a conversation that you want to pause, let the kids out of the room, or expose them to it. I don't know your style of parenting, but I'm going to talk about sex. All right, so the main thing is that, we think about it and like how many guys have actually been righteous through their vocation, and the vast majority of us have failed. We've fallen because we don't have the patience to endure our own passions, to endure and keep our passions at bay. We lack patience with this stuff. And sometimes we use patience as an excuse, like I have this virtue, that's why I'm not acting. Like when it comes time to actually act. And so I kind of wanted to touch on those two things. The first one is we don't have patience. When we can do something, we do it. Why? Because we want to. Because it feels good. Or because we're going to look bad if we don't act. And so we lack that patience, which is acting at the right time for the right reasons. And when we don't act, it's not patience, it's cowardice. It's because it's more convenient not to act, or because we want to be politically correct, or whatever it may be. It's, one thing is to temper ourselves, and the other one is to go against patience or go against virtue by doing something or not doing something that we ought or ought not do. I hope that's not too much.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Cool.
Like every episode, I always quote somebody because I can't think of my own things.
Because there's better men than us.
No, because I'm patient enough to let the spirit speak to me in whatever. So
Preach.
The English is hard.
Indeed.
Now, I found this quote by Saint John Paul the Great. Real love is demanding. I would fail in my mission if I did not tell you so. Love demands a personal commitment to the will of God. That's the part that got me. Like the very beginning and the very end. Real love is demanding. And love demands a personal commitment to the will of God. Now, you start talking about sex, and that's definitely one of the things that like you said, like most men fail at.
Yeah.
But that can apply to anything in life.
In almost everything.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Almost anything. A lot of us don't watch exactly what we're gonna say. We just that's just the way that I am. Like, and why not be better then?
Mm-hmm.
Why not be better? Because love is very demanding. And love is not just that pretty feeling you get in your gut. Love is enduring, and love is patient. I have a bunch of examples, but I feel like I've already used them, dude.
That's okay. We kind of owe this series to you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take the step and say a good friend who's been with us listening to the podcast since like the beginning, Andy. Shout out to Andy. One of the things he said is, I know we already done this, but maybe it's time for a refresher. Mm-hmm. And it is. And if anything, just for us, because we need to hear it. We talked about this. We talked about ourselves. We're not theologians or whatever. We may be well versed in some things or others, but the main thing is maybe the thing that draws you into this podcast is that you're listening to a couple of knuckle draggers, white belts in Catholicism, because we're just tapping into the depth of the faith, and we realize with life experience that practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. And so we're gonna repeat stuff, and so many times we say like, oh, we've already said this, but because it needs to be said again. Maybe not for you, but for us, as perpetual knuckle draggers over here in the faith, like we need to hear this again and again, because if we are not mocking ourselves, or if someone's not mocking us for saying the same things over and over, that means that the message isn't being sent home. So I can't wait to hear the story again, Ramon.
It's another one of those wartime books. And this happened in one of the most recent ones too, in Iraq. I forgot the name of the place, but it was right before Fallujah in 2004. So this is probably either early 2004, late 2003. It was this group of army soldiers, and if you know anything about rankings, and actually you don't even have to know, but the sergeants are usually like the ones in charge of like a certain amount of people, and then there's staff sergeants who are in charge of the sergeants and everybody below them. So the more, I guess, authority, the more rank you have, the more responsibility you have to get these guys home. You're not just, if you're a good leader that's worth its salt at least, you're going to go in there and sweat, bleed, and starve with them. So this is from the book called House to House by Staff Sergeant Bellavia, and he witnessed this particular scene with one of his friends, Staff Sergeant Fitz, and so Staff Sergeant Fitz got pinned down with his men in this urban combat, and they were getting hit pretty hard by a couple snipers. So Staff Sergeant Bellavia couldn't do much because he was also being pinned down, but on the other side of the street. Dang. So he was watching this whole thing go down. Fitz's men were getting pummeled, and they were getting hurt. So Staff Sergeant Fitz, he was pulling people out, and he was exposing himself to an open area, and he was getting shot at, and he was getting clipped pretty good with AK rounds. But he was still pulling his men out and then laying cover fire, and then that is kind of like, it gave me the chills just to think about it.
Yeah.
So he was laying cover fire and just pummeling the enemy too, and then he gets shot in the arm, and he's still going. Then he gets shot in the forearm, and then his elbow just violently snaps. Like, it just turns the other way. So he grabs his M4 rifle with his left hand, because he can't do anything with his right hand anymore. So he grabs it with his left hand, and then he gets shot in the left hand. So he starts firing with his pinky while still pulling guys out. When Pope John Paul II, when Saint John Paul the Great said that love is demanding, I think that's a pretty good example.
Yeah.
Because even though you're afraid or you think something is nearly impossible, when you have the patience to endure something, it makes you do amazing things. That's why it's crazy when you say when you brought up again, like the that part of like how we fail when it comes to waiting until marriage.
Yeah.
Real love is demanding. I know this whole episode's not going to be about, hey, keep it in your pants. If it's not yours, don't touch it. But, excuse me.
Sorry,
but that's
throwing smoke in your direction.
No, you're good. Man, what the heck today? It's just strong. I just woke up, man. Dang. Yeah, but it's demanding. It's something demanding, and it's something that's worth it. Definitely something that's worth it.
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to jump on as you were speaking, just because it's so significant. It's a quote that we've been saying, and if you've been praying the rosary on YouTube, just enter Dude Catholic, and you'll see the quarantine rosary. And one of those quotes is repeated by my wife. It's by Julius Caesar, the one that we keep bringing up over and over again, that it is easier to find men who are willing to die than to find men who are willing to endure pain with patience. And that sums up our society in a nutshell. You know, we're so immediate in our gratification. I want to challenge you guys, because I don't know if we challenge enough. You know, I know the stuff we say is sometimes challenging, but start disciplining yourself in patience. No, it's something that I need to do. It's something that we all need to do. I'm not saying it as someone that's mastered it. I'm saying it as someone who's read enough or listened to enough people who have actually mastered it, to say, do smaller things. Like, do small things. Because if you deny yourself in the small things, you're going to be training to at least have a chance at withstanding the big temptations. You know, in the last series, we heard the words of Christ when he said that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Pray that you may not undergo the test. You know, and not in that order, but those were the words. You know, and if you undergo the test and you've been preparing, even in smaller ways, you know, like, don't touch your food from the drive-thru until you get home. You know, little things like that. Like, don't eat dessert first. You know, like, small things. Like, just do the small things. Because it builds your character. You know, when someone does something dumb in traffic. You know, I caught myself road raging yesterday. I did. I went, I don't know what I got. I went to the store to get something. I did not stand by. I just got some. And I got that something from the store. I didn't even know what it was. Oh, it was steak. And I was coming home, and then there's a certain area where there's a couple lanes. One to turn right only, and the other one to turn left or go straight. And the temptation is to not wait and go to the right lane to turn right and just go straight, because everyone's trying to turn left, but also people coming from the other side are going straight, and you wait longer. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to practice patience, not even thinking about the series. That's a thing, you know? I'm going to practice patience, and I'm going to stay here and fight the temptation to go to the right lane and keep going straight like a jerk. Not obeying the law. That seems kind of silly for that area, but whatever. I still stayed in the lane. I stayed in my lane. But when other people went on the right side, I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And I didn't. And I waited. And then it was time for me to go. And I went. I had the right of way. Some jerk went in front of me. And then another one they got stuck because I was going straight. You can't see my hand motions right now, guys, but I'm totally playing it off right now. Like, boom. I'm giving the visual to Ramon right here. And some dude just freaking honks at me. And I'm like, what? Oh, man. I didn't know if it was a dude or a lady, but if it would have been a lady at first, like, well, I did notice it was a guy, but if it would have been a lady, I would have been like, oh man, what a jerk. And I felt no remorse when like thinking about my reaction, you know, until later. I'm like, dude, what the heck are you doing?
That's
like,
funny.
what are you doing? And I'm like, good job, dude Catholic. I think about these things because we're accountable. You know, we're accountable to each other. We're accountable to the people we love. And and a lot more than just a moment is writing on everything that I do. Like the experiences that people have with you is what's gonna make an impact. And that experience right there, where some dude, and I have my quarantine buzz cut right now, so I look like, I look what I look like. It was just not, it didn't make a good impact. That person that was behind me, yeah, they were taking the other lane, which was a shortcut, and it was a dirty thing for, because I had the right of way. Like, yeah, I was in the right, but the way I went about it was not right. It started off as something good, and sometimes, here's the main point, here's why you've been listening. Sometimes you're going to do the right thing, in the right way, for the right reasons. And it's not going to pay off, not because someone else was not doing the same, or because you were not doing it right. You were doing it, everything you were doing right. But others will fault you for it. And it's not going to look like you're a man of virtue. It's not going to look like you're doing things the right way. You're just going to look like a chump in their eyes. Do it anyway. Do it anyway, because you're going to know that you did the right thing in the right way. And several people are counting on you to do that thing. And it's not always going to look good on you. But who gives a rat's behind? Just do it. I failed at doing it, and I'm sharing that with you because this is the community, the brotherhood that we've built up here for a couple of years now. So this is my pledge to be better. This is my pledge that I'm not going to do that stuff. Yeah, I'm going to be in the right, but I'm going to go about it the wrong way. Or I'm not going to go about it the wrong way next time. It's just the lesson, sometimes you'll do the right thing and it'll come back at you in the wrong way. Keep doing the right thing.
I like that story because it's such a contrast. And please, don't just listen, Adrian.
Dude, I will listen.
Because it's
I am humble.
It's such a contrast between the story that I told at the very beginning, which requires a lot of patience.
Yeah.
And but it's awesome though, like the fact that you're owning your mistake and you're like, hey, dude, like this is me. I failed at the little thing, even though I've succeeded in a lot of other challenging tests. But we slip up, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go full disclosure here, but I will tell you guys this. Something happened at work some time ago, like fairly recently, where I set up my training partner for success just because I love the guy. And something went kind of wrong where like I planned for something and he got hurt. And no, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't his fault. It's just the way that the other person reacted. So my partner got kicked in the face. And when I found out, I was raging, dude. Like, straight up, I was raging. But the way that I rage is very, on the outside, is very calm and collected.
No one needs to know.
On the inside, like, I'm just thinking about breaking, like, stuff. Not stuff, but
their stuff.
Their stuff. And then I found out what my partner did. I was like, good. You don't let nobody touch you like that. But deep down inside, I was ready to lose my job. And, this is so relevant because of what's been going on right now.
Yeah.
Then I remember this quote also that I read on the internet, because the internet is awesome. And it's
always, no exceptions.
It's how you treat others is a direct reflection of your relationship with Christ.
Oh.
Another one.
How you treat others is a direct reflection of your relationship with Christ. I felt hatred towards this guy because you didn't touch my partner like that. My partner got kicked in the face. And yeah, I know he can handle his own, but that's my academy, brother. That's my training partner. We've literally bled together. We've sweat together. And it's kind of an exaggeration, but we've starved together because we're in training and we're not supposed to eat that much. Yeah, I know, stupid tradition that they have there. Whatever, I'm not complaining, but it's things like that, man, that really test your patience. Like, dude, and it's crazy because when you can get away with certain things, that's when the devil starts acting and tugging at you, like where he knows he can get away with stuff. Because there's no cameras inside the cells.
Who's gonna know?
Yeah, exactly. You know, there's no cameras inside the cells. There's a lot of blind spots. But doing the right thing because it's right, that's powerful. And I'm glad God spoke to me. He told me, just let it be. And I will take care of it. That jerk got charged with battery on a peace officer. And that's a pretty big deal. Because that's a penal code. So, my partner's okay. And I want to believe that I exercise patience the right way. And I was actually the one that escorted him to another area, to the hole, basically. And then I read him his Miranda rights, and I'm the one that had to have a conversation with him. That was God's way of telling me, relax, you fool. This is the right way of doing things. Your feelings don't matter. Do the right thing because it's right. And I know it's very popular to want to defund the police, and you know what's crazy, man? Like, people know what I do for a living, and they still post like their stuff like killed all the cops. Like, all right, it doesn't bother me. It is what it is. It's just like a childish thing to say, but it's like, dude,
Yeah.
all right, okay, that's cool, man. Whatever.
No, not whatever, man.
Whatever,
Not whatever.
dude. Whatever. No, you know, whatever, because that's you. Like, that's how you want to live your life. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Be that way.
Yeah.
Be that way. We all want to think we're so mature. We all want to think we're so righteous. But then when you're faced with something serious like that, you're just saying a bunch of stuff that makes no sense. Like, yeah, kill all the cops. Okay, dude, go ahead. Stupid. The same people that would throw bottles at deputies and then they run away when they hear a loud noise and then they get sprayed with pepper balls. And then that's the end of that confrontation. Those are the ones that say, yeah, kill all the cops. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's how stupid we look, dude, when we don't exercise patience.
Yeah.
When we don't treat others the right way. Because our relationship with Christ is very weak or non-existent. It's so important. We owe it to the world. Like Mother Teresa said, like Saint Teresa of Calcutta said, you know, we forget that we belong to each other. No matter how much we dislike each other, that's the true test of love.
Yeah. The way you treat the people that disagree with you. Because we're not allowed to hate. And one thing that people forget, you know, about the Catholic Church, because a lot of people would say something like, I remember, I saw the homily by Father Mike Schmitz for Trinity Sunday. And he was talking about how he hadn't preached on it. You know, he hadn't preached on race relations and whatnot. Dude, we are the universal church. The church in Africa is thriving. Like, I don't think the outside world understands that Catholic is Greek for universal. I don't think people understand that I want to say Pope Innocent, I can't remember who it was, but hundreds of years ago, over 500 years ago, said that Catholic countries are not allowed to have slaves. That all humans have the same dignity and were made in the image and likeness of God. Dude, this is our history for over 500 years before it was cool. We've been about equality. We've been about you cannot own slaves. You cannot treat someone as anything less than a dignified child of God. You know, that is who we are, all of us. And yeah, maybe society needs to hear this again. Because if we're not communicating that to people, then maybe we're making ourselves look bad. But that's just who we are. We are all one. We are one, holy, Catholic, and apostolic. And so all this crap has no business in our church. We have so much stuff to deal with. We have so much to endure. And patience can only come as a result of our relationship with God and how we treat those who we disagree with the most. It says more about our stance and our relationship with God than anything else. So pray for us.
I will pray for you.
Ferrum
Ferro.
aquitur.
Oh, Ramon. The horse was thirsty.